when you play football and you get to play on the field with these guys like, Terrell Owens, I was out there and I watched these guys play. And I just feel like when people get into that debate of who's better and this person's the GOAT, that person's the GOAT, it's like unless you saw them on the field or you saw them play, it's like, like I never saw Mike play in person. I was fortunate enough. I saw Kobe, seen LeBron here. But Mike, I never saw him play. So when people always want to argue that.
It's tough to say who's the best ever from a highlight film.
Yeah, because it's their highlight reel.
It's a highlight film.
It's the best everything you've done.
Yeah, boy. You
It's
throw
the
that
best of
together.
everything.
I might look I'm the best. You throw my highlights together.
That's how I feel. That's what they make them for. They got the highlight reel. So you can look
tough.
good.
I mean, unless to me, and I've always felt this way, unless everybody plays at the same time, how are you going to say who's the best? Because are they going to say that Elgin Baylor, because at his time, they were probably saying he's the best ever.
Yeah.
And Kareem was the best ever. And now here come Magic.
Yeah.
Here comes Bird.
Yeah.
Here comes Michael Jordan. LeBron, how you going to say who's really the best? You can say he's one of the best.
Yeah.
I can
think
live
that's
with that all
yeah.
day.
I can take that because you're putting a group of people together and you're saying, here's the best. And that's easier to argue than you're saying this one person is better than everybody else, than everybody that's ever played the game. And it's like, wow, that's a tough statement.
Different eras, different ways to play the game, different rules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because even me and Deuce argue about that when it comes to football. Like I always talk about Lawrence Taylor. I think he's the greatest, and his thing is he always comes up with J.J. Watt, and he'll argue it.
Right.
And I'm fine with that. That's just a different era. Even though LT was before me, I still have seen videos and I've seen what he's done. And so it's just like, I don't know, man. I think LT is the guy that was the father of all these defensive guys you see. But you were talking before we actually got started, you were talking about Ken Griffey. Now I want you to go back to that, and I want you to tell everybody, because now we're recording and all the good stuff we were talking about behind the scenes. But you said Ken Griffey in your era and seeing baseball players and playing it, the best player you've ever seen.
Man, I get asked that all the time. Who's the best pitcher? Who is best player? Who was this and that? And once again, I go, well, one of the best I've ever seen was Ken Griffey Jr. I remember he was in minor leagues at spring training. And I saw him play a couple games. I go, this dude is not going to be in the minor leagues. This dude's not going to play a minute. And he didn't.
Really?
He started in the big leagues, if I'm not correct. But I believe he started in the big leagues, never played in the minor leagues.
Wow.
And he just took off from there. This dude could run. He could throw. He had what they call the 5 tools and just did it with ease.
Really?
It's just smooth, man.
You got to break that down now. What are the 5 tools? Because we joke about this stuff.
Let me see if I got them correct. It's run, hit, throw. Now you're going to quiz me.
I'll put you on spot.
Run, hit, throw, power, and speed. Well, that'll be run.
Yeah.
I can't think of it. But people know. You got these tools. It's like football.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's how fast you are.
Yeah.
How quick you get off the line, how strong you are. You got these tools they measure you by. And it's like if you can do all 5 of them great, believe me, you're going to probably be a number 1 draft pick, and you're probably going to be around in the NBA, NFL, whatever it is, you're going to be around a long time. It's not many people that has, when you look at them, you go, this man has all the tools.
Yeah. It is rare. Like, for us, it's the eye exam. Like, you see somebody, you're like, wow, he's got the height, he's got the length, he's got the size. And then when you get him out there, you see him working, you see him moving, you're like, man, this guy's got it all. Okay, so we jumped around a little bit, but I just want to get started from the very beginning, man, because, like, when I talk to people and I have them on here, I always like to start out when they were young and, what was it for you growing up in California? Because, you're a Cali guy, you're especially Disneyland.
All day, every day.
So why baseball over, like, any other sport? Like, why was that your thing, and when did it catch a hold for you that you knew, like, this was going to get me to school?
Well, why baseball, and I think you told me you were an only child.
Yeah.
You probably don't understand this. I was the youngest. I had 2 older brothers.
Yeah.
I just did whatever they did.
Oh, you just follow suit.
They played baseball. I played baseball. They played football. But baseball was, I think, back then.
Really?
In the, what would have been in the early, let's say early 70s. Baseball was big back then. Everybody in your rec leagues and whatever, it was baseball. It wasn't football. It wasn't a lot of basketball in rec league. It was the summer baseball. Everybody played it, and we had a lot of great athletes come out of L.A. to play baseball around that time. We had Willie Davis, and even now, we had Eric Davis, Darryl Strawberry, all came out of my neighborhood.
Wow.
That's my time. They're a year younger than me. So I went out one day, and I was bigger than my middle brother. I was the youngest, so they never looked at my birth certificate, so they let me play on the team.
So just come on. Like, you're good.
I was the little pudgy kid. You'd be the catcher.
You started out as a catcher.
Yeah, I was a little pudgy kid.
What did you play when you were in, like, little rec ball and then high school? Like, what was your position?
You know what? When I was little, I played catcher.
Okay.
And then as I got a little older and a little bigger, I played second base because my brother played short and my other brother played third. I moved over as I got older, and I could play all the positions, but I was mainly an outfielder.
Okay.
I had a good arm, played a lot of right field. High school, I kind of played all the outfield positions. In high school, they put you where you need it, meaning like they got the guys they think are going to hit it over there, they put you over there.
Yeah.
Then when I got to college, I played behind Tony Gwynn, so I sat on the bench.
But you got to talk about where you went to school, though. You got to tell them now. You can't just jump to college.
You mean like Dorsey High School?
You got to brag about your high school.
In high school, I went to Dorsey High School in Los Angeles. Then I went to SDSU, San Diego State Aztecs. Yeah. In '83, we were number 1 in the nation for about, I think about 10, 12 weeks. Wow. So we had a really good team. And then I played with Bobby Meacham, went on to be a number 1 draft pick. Okay. Al Newman, World Series champion with Minnesota. Chili Davis, high school.
Okay.
World Series champion with Minnesota. I played with Chris Brown. He's deceased. But I played with a lot of guys. That either in high school or college that went on to have professional careers. So
yeah, that's great. So when you were at college, when you're at San Diego State, like, what was the difference from going from high school to college? Like, what was the adjustment that you had to make?
Man, at the time, I didn't realize it, but it's like umpiring. It's like playing Pop Warner. It's the speed of the game. Yeah. It's different.
Yeah.
Everything happens faster. Little league to high school wasn't that bad to me because it was the same guys. Yeah. Because I always played
the neighborhood, and
I always played up.
Okay.
Because I always played my brother. Yeah. So me going to high school, I'm playing with Chili Davis. It wasn't hey man, I was ready. I started one of my first year of high school. Now college was a different story. Now you think you're good.
Yeah, yes. Say that again.
You get to college,
we talk about that.
Guess what? Everybody's good.
And you're at a D1 school too, that's top 5, right? Oh, not top 5, but Power 5. Yeah.
San Diego State. Hey, I was drafted out of high school. I was 12th round pick by the Dodgers. Okay. Out of high school.
See, this is all stuff I didn't know, and I've known you for years, KD. Mm-hmm. So this is all new. I didn't even know you got drafted.
Yeah, man, let me tell you, I got drafted. In high school, I hit 631. Mm-hmm. Man, I thought I was going to be a first-round draft pick and go to the Dodgers. I got drafted by the Dodgers. Yeah. I was the LA team. And, man, let me tell you, I was a 12th round pick. They only offered me $6,000. Right. And even at that time, I was smart enough to realize taxes and a car, that's what was going to happen. And I liked school. Yeah. I wasn't against school.
Right.
So I decided to go to San Diego State. I walked on. I was there the first semester, and after the first semester, they offered me a scholarship.
Wow. So had you even played yet?
I hadn't played a regular season game.
So they just saw what you could do, and
you drafted. Yeah. They don't just draft anybody. Even in the 12th round, might not have been first round, but it wasn't the 45th round either.
So you talk about coming straight out of high school.
Straight out of high school.
See, you're talking to a football player. See, that's over my head because I'm sitting here like, hold on, we got to go back. Then I'm like, oh, that's right. Y'all get drafted straight out of high school.
Yeah, get drafted straight out of high school, and then you got to make a decision. And I didn't feel like it was. I didn't feel like it was enough money. For my education. I wanted education more, but they threw a little wrench in my plans. I went and played summer ball, had a good summer. Right before I was supposed to go to school, Ben Wade, the head of, I believe it's personnel or something, he was in charge of draft kids. Okay. He called me in his office. He goes, I'm going to write down the number. It was me and my dad and I, $30,000.
You got my attention.
You know what? And this is what I mean about not knowing. Yeah. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know that now all of a sudden they're thinking me more like a 4th round pick, 5th round pick than a 12th round pick. I didn't know what they meant. Now they're thinking, okay, this kid, he has a chance. Yeah. But I didn't realize I had nobody advising me. I didn't know anybody. Yeah. I didn't know anybody that played, that made the major leagues. I just like, even 30,000. Let's do the math again.
Yeah, taxes.
Education could take you far.
Yes,
I was a kid. Like I said, I didn't mind school. I actually enjoyed school. Yeah, so I went back to school, and I don't regret it.
No, you should. I think you've done excellent.
Things happen for a reason.
Things happen for a reason. So now you attend college, and now obviously it's the best decision. Like you feel real good about this.
Yeah.
So did you start as a freshman coming in?
No, I'll tell you, I settled. I played a little varsity, but I played a lot of JV my first year, and then my second year I did. Tony Gwynn was still there, so the coach had other people out there who I thought I was better than.
That's everybody,
but who doesn't?
Yeah, I was going to say everybody thinks that,
but they had already been there. You know how college works? The scholarships.
Yeah. Yes.
They were already on scholarship. They were already there before me.
Yeah,
they had to run their time.
Yeah.
So, and then I was going to leave. I actually Harold Reynolds was there with me, and he actually left after his first semester and went to a school, junior college. He wanted to be drafted in the first round. He was good though. He was another one of those kids you look and go, this man's different.
Yeah, different. You can see those. You can see those kids at an early age. I mean, the hand-eye coordination, whatever it is, you like, wow, this kid's got something special about him.
He's different. So, so that was it. I mean, I just college was it was good for me. Yeah. The way it happened for me was good. Yeah, I'm thinking about this 40 years later.
Yeah.
Which you don't know then.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, for me, it's worked out great.
Yeah.
I mean, because I could have been a bust. I mean, who knows? I could have made it too. Yeah. But you know what the chances,
Yeah. It's a chance it may not work out. So, I mean, to come back and get something that's guaranteed your education, it's way more valuable. I mean, it just means more. And like you said, you probably had a longer career in the majors being an umpire. So, speaking about that, what made you, or when did you decide that you wanted to be an umpire? Like, when did it click for you that this is what I'm going to do? This is my next step, or this is the route I'm going to take?
Let's see. Well, you already knew we didn't talk about it, but I was an All-American baseball player. Yeah. I was a first-team All-American. I led the nation hitting. I don't know if the whole year, but it was a lot of year. Yeah. I ended up at 399, but I had 416 in regular season. Those people do not get drafted.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They
I'm
drafted
to those
50
numbers.
rounds, and nobody took a chance on me. 50. Yeah. And nobody would say, hey, well, let's just sign the kid.
See what he can do, right.
So I, believe it or not, I'm in a bar in San Diego at TGI Fridays.
Okay.
Our buddy was in there, Dwayne. And he goes, Katie, come here. Hey, man, I want you to meet this guy over here. I was like, hey, man, I'm young now. So you know why I'm in the bar.
Yeah.
I'm young. I'm a young
not
dude.
looking to meet a guy.
I wasn't looking to meet a guy.
No.
And he kept harping on it. I go, all right, man, let me go. And it was a guy named Randy Marsh. He was a Major League Baseball umpire. He goes, hey, Dwayne has been telling me all about you. He goes, you are what we want. And what I like about it, he was candid.
Yeah.
He goes, we're looking for minorities who speak well. educated. I'm not kidding you.
No, you know why I'm laughing at that.
And who had size to him.
Yeah.
And he taught me. Even then, I was like, hey, man, the only thing I know about umpires, they yell at them, and they yell at them a lot. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. And I decided to go to umpire school, like, say, 4 or 5 days before it started. It started in January 2nd.
Right.
And I called up Harry Winstead. It was his school. Harry, he was a major league umpire. I said, Harry, this is Kerwin Danley. I really want to go to umpire school. I don't have the money to go. He says, Kerwin, don't worry about it. Just get here.
Right.
I didn't realize at the time they had a minority program in baseball. They gave scholarships, and I didn't know it. Or maybe his school gave them.
Yeah.
Russell. All I did was get there. I didn't pay nothing.
Just show up.
Russell, I went there. I had a one-way ticket.
Do or die.
Do or die.
Yeah.
But didn't know what to expect. Didn't know I was going to like it. I could have been there a week and go, I want to go back home.
You knew that wasn't. You know you weren't going back home.
No, I was not going back home.
You know that.
I learned things on the way, though. I learned that if you finish like in the top 10, they send you to another school where you guarantee to them giving you a ticket home. So I go, I'm going to make that. Oh, wow. I said, yeah, I ain't no money on.
Yeah. It's amazing what adversity will do to you.
But I was the number one student.
Good for you.
Yeah. I worked my ass off. I didn't go out. I didn't do anything. I studied after with the field work and everybody went back. I stayed on field. Me and another guy, we worked because I had never umpired before.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about it.
You were scared.
Umpiring, which in some ways, though, I was scared, but it was good.
Yeah, no, it's a good fear.
Because I did exactly what the instructors told me to do.
Yes.
They told me to stand on my head. I stand on my head.
I don't know what it has to do with baseball, but I'll do it. Yeah.
And so I was a fresh canvas to them.
Yeah.
And I followed what they did. I studied my rules. I missed one. On all the rules, I missed one.
Really?
Yeah. Hey, man.
That's a lot of rules in baseball.
And I only gave it. I said, I'm going to give it like 3 years. I don't like it. Man, what turned me around, it was about my 4th year, and we're in spring training. After spring training, they will send some of the older umpires that's in the minor leagues, they'll send them to do a major league spring training game before the season starts. Yeah. And they called me, and I'm still in AA. They don't do that. You got to be in AAA.
Right.
So they called me and said, Kerwin wants you to go to Vegas to do a major league weekend. What? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the big show, baby.
But when I knew I wanted to be after it was over, my dad came up and he shout out to Josephus Danley. Yeah. He drove me back. And I go, Dad, I'll get the gas. I'll get us something to eat. He goes, no, man, I know you didn't make. And I showed him the check that I got for a weekend. And this check was only like $1,200, Russell. That was for 3 days' work. Yeah. Russell, back in 1990, no, that would have been like 87, 88. Russell, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
You make no money in the minor leagues. You only get paid 5 months.
Really?
Russell, you'd be lucky to make $800 a month.
And you had to live off of that
while I was single.
Yeah.
You couldn't do it with a family.
No,
there's
no way. Because
no way. Unless you had a job waiting for you, most people don't.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you got to work in the outside. I used to work at Broadway Southwest, which is now Macy's.
Okay.
And throwing couches and stuff. Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And I love that because everybody's always has these different stories. And people always think, huh?
Can I drink some water?
Yeah, you can drink some water. Yeah. Knock yourself out. It's like people always have these different stories and everybody thinks it comes so easy. Like, oh, he's a major league umpire, so he just went in and everything was great for him. Like, no, man, I was loading boxes and I was doing all these different things. So you did that. And then what did your dad say in the car when you showed him that check?
He just went, I'll let you pay for the gas and the food.
Dinner's on you tonight.
My dad, man, is a good man. He, even when I went to college, he gave me a gas card. Mm-hmm. And he goes, hey, you need to get something to eat.
Yeah.
Get some gas. But I didn't wind up using it. I mean, I did, but I didn't need to because I wound up being on scholarship. Then I had what was it called back then? It wasn't financial aid, but it was like for lower income
Yeah.
families when you got free money.
Yeah.
So but once he put me on scholarship, I was like, Dad, I don't need this
Yeah, I
anymore.
don't need anything. Yeah.
I had a job. They put me on a job watching the baseball field, which I called it that. I don't know what I was doing, but I got paid, and you know,
No,
you got,
that's like,
it's
yeah,
got
that's
to be a
summer
real job, but
Yeah,
you
it's
really
gotta
don't
be real, but you
really
know,
don't do it.
we didn't have NIL, so they had to find new ways to get
I used to
paid.
call it, what are you doing? I'm keeping the elephants off the baseball field.
Yeah, I used to go. We would move cars from one lot to another
Yeah.
during summer school. You get paid for that. Like, all I'm doing is running a car through like they bring back rental cars. You run them through the car wash, then go park them, and it's like, oh, okay.
But my dad, I think they used to come up because LA was only let's say it was a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
They would come up to all the games, and then we'd play USC and Cal State LA and UCLA. So. And Loyola Marymount, so they really got to see they got to see me play a lot. So that was good for me.
Yeah,
that was important to have your parents there.
Good. So now, when you got called up to the majors,
Mm-hmm.
like, is that like being drafted? Like, is that when you get that phone call and they're like, "Hey, you're being called"?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how that phone call goes, but
Yeah, it's like being called up to the big leagues.
Yeah.
Like you're in the minor leagues baseball, and they call you to the big leagues, or say you're in the college and you get drafted.
yeah,
That's the feeling you have, and but then when it sets in, you go, oh boy.
yeah.
Then you start getting nervous.
Get scared.
I mean, nervous like you wouldn't even believe. Like you really. I mean, you've umpired enough now at this point where you realize, well, wait a minute, there might be 10,000 people at this minor league game, and there's getting ready to be 50,000 people at this baseball game. And my first game was in Atlanta. And all I remember was when we opened our door to walk on the field, all you hear is, no, no, no. They used to have these fake tomahawks. They'd be, no, no, no. And I mean, everybody and was doing it. And the funny thing is, when you get your first major league game, they don't want you to work home plate because we rotate. Okay. So we go home, third, second, first.
Okay.
So they don't want you to work home plate. But to me, I would rather work home the first game. Get it out the way, man.
Okay.
Get them nerve. You imagine now you're already nervous.
Yeah.
So now you got to go from third to second. So that's 3 days you got to wait. And now you're watching how this game that you thought moved like fast, now it's about 5 times faster than what you think.
Yeah.
So if it was me, and if I ever, even on my career, if I had a young kid, hey man, let's put you on the plate right now. Let's get it over with. You're going to work it anyway.
Yeah.
You might as well get it over with, man. That way now you can relax a little bit. But it's the feeling that you get when TV wasn't as prevalent when I first started. But if you think about it now, like when I did the World Series, you really start thinking that everybody in the world is probably watching this game.
Yes.
and all you're trying to do is not make a mistake.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's so great because you hear people all the time. I mess with you when we're at the cigar bars on these umpires, but that's got to be in your mind, and everybody's watching like, oh, that's a terrible call. Like, you're like, well, you come out here and do this.
Yeah, and that's what you think, and a lot of the young kids would say things like that. I go, man, you chose this job.
Yeah,
this is your job. You chose it. Own it.
Yeah.
I go, you're gonna be scared, or I won't say scared. Every game you walk on the field, you're nervous. You know why? It's the unknown.
Yeah,
you don't know what's gonna happen out there today.
No, you don't. Yeah,
and with the advent of replay, and a lot of umpires didn't like it. I go, well, let me ask you this: would you rather get your play fixed or have your TV, your picture plastered on ESPN for the rest of the winter? Which one would you rather do? I'd rather them fix my play.
I'd rather you go ahead and call me out now and show me what I did wrong, and we can move on.
So just like you playing in the Super Bowl, the ball drops as a fumble, you run the wrong way. you
dummy.
Yeah. You know what that is? That's a mistake.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to stay away from.
Yeah. We've talked and I've watched games and I try to get more knowledgeable about baseball, but when I watch that ball coming in, Man, that thing, it all looks the same to me. It's just like a little tic-tac coming down the pipe. So when you start talking about, that was a curve and that was a slider, like, dude, how did you even see that ball move like that?
Years and years and years of practice.
Oh,
that's what it is. And when you started, I started on what's called the rookie league. And you got pitchers. They're throwing hard, but it's a different kind of hard. Right. So you're growing with these pitchers your whole career. So by the time you get to the big leagues, some of them are there.
Yeah.
And the ones who are there pretty much throw just like them. So you're just used to seeing it. It's like and you're like in football, and I'm related to that, like it's a screenplay.
Yeah. You've seen it 1,000 times.
I've seen this tackle go this way. It's a screen over here. Yeah. you just know.
Yeah, you know it's coming like,
Like, it's just, it's repetition.
Yeah.
You've seen it over and over again. And it's still hard, don't get me wrong.
No, I know it is.
It's still hard
absolutely.
when every pitcher's ball moves different. No two pitchers pitch the same.
Really?
None. Doesn't happen.
I just, when I watch that stuff, to me, all those balls look the same coming out their arm or coming off their hand. When I see it and it hits the glove, I'm smoking my cigar and I look at you almost like, what is that? What was that? And you're just kind of like, yeah, it's good. It's good. You're right.
It's all about arm motion. You ever watch pitchers? Some pitchers throw up top. Some people from the side. Some of them throwing the knee. Some of them is somewhere in the middle. Some arm motion are fast. Some are slow. They grip the ball differently. I'm telling you, I think it's the hardest sport to officiate.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to argue with you about that because when I try to learn the game, to me, I grew up playing football, so it's easy. I recognize all these rules, and I know I feel like I know what's going on. But baseball is just like a foreign language to me, and everything that goes on out there, I'm just like, what in the world is going on? And so the World Series, now you're out there and you're umping. Is that same, like, when does that fear go away? Because I know for the Super Bowl, when we came out the tunnel, it was all the hoopla and everything going on. You get chills. But once they put that ball down and once they say hike, all that noise and everything around you just disappears.
You're right, bro. So it is first pitch.
Really?
Dude, especially when you're behind the plate, once that first pitch comes in, and whether you get it right or wrong, you realize you go, hey, man, look here. I ain't got it. I don't have time to be scared anymore. Yeah. It's time to get the pitches right. And in the World Series, it could be down the middle. The team that you didn't call it for, they're yelling at you. And you have to learn. That's the one thing about the second World Series I already knew. They're going to yell at you anyway.
No matter what you do.
No matter what you do. So you might as well go on back there and get your pitches right.
Oh, gosh, that's so crazy. So now I want to sit here and brag on you a little bit because, I looked up your information. So, and you were talking about the whole minority thing and how you got hired. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, in 2020, you were the first African-American crew chief? I'm sorry?
No, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So I want you to elaborate on that a little bit. Like, how was that a big deal for you, or were you just like, you know what, I've been doing my job. Thank you for recognizing me, but I just want to get my job done? Or did you kind of take it in for a moment like, wow, I'm really doing something special here?
Yes. It was maybe the biggest deal of my career. I've always been a person who's been for minorities. I mean, it's tough to explain what that means, but I've always, hey, we got any young black kids coming up in the minor leagues? I just, if I didn't, I always thought if I didn't do something, how would somebody else, other black kids, say, well, I want to do that too? Yeah. So getting that, being the first black crew chief in the history of baseball, gives me a lot more leverage to speak to people. Maybe if you don't want to be an umpire, it still gives me leverage that, hey, look at my background as a player. I was an All-American. No, I was one of the 3 best outfielders in the country. I didn't even get drafted. It's a don't give up story. It's a move ahead story, don't look back story. And being a minority and them naming me that, and it was later in my career and I didn't care, it meant, one, it was something my son could always look up to. Absolutely, which was very important to me. For him to realize, you work hard, you can get something. Because your family knows what you want. Other people may not. I don't talk very much.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I'm talking about my business.
Yeah.
But your family knows, and he knew. And when I got it, I could finally give him a hug and say, son, I finally achieved something that I wanted more than anything else out of baseball. And it wasn't a monetary thing.
Wow, that's huge, because when I read that and I saw that about you, and I want to say I knew that even before today, just being around you. And it, because you're so quiet and reserved, and things start getting too loud, you're like, oh, look, time to go. You're quick to be like, oh, it's getting a little certain in here, so let me get out of here. But so to read that and be like, damn, I've known this guy for years, and I think I knew this, and I've always wanted to talk to you about that. Like that, that's got to be something huge. Like, I mean, that'd be like being the first black quarterback in the NFL, or not in the NFL, but in the Super Bowl. Like, that meant something. So to get you to talk about that, I think that's huge. So we're getting kind of close, and I want to start winding down a little bit, but I also want to talk to you about this, because I know what I went through when it was time for me to retire. It was, man, like, is this over with? And I remember being like with the Giants, and it was right after the Super Bowl, and I remember kind of being in the off season and training with some of these younger kids. I call them kids. I mean, they're grown men, but at the time they're 23, 24 years old. And I just remember watching them and the speed in which they were moving and how they were doing things. And it was like, it might be time to hang this thing up. And so for me, it was hard to find something to take the place of that, to quench that thirst or that fire. Like, what have you done, or how was that for you when you retired?
Man, I tell you, Russ, when I retired, I was ready to retire. I was ready. Russ, if the money was right, I would have retired 5 years before that. And I love the game. Baseball has been the greatest thing for me in my life. So I love the game. That's why you never hear me say anything bad about baseball, but it was injuries. It was honestly, probably 10 concussions in my career or more. In the minor leagues, no one even cared. They pick you up and go,
dust yourself off.
Yeah, we'll wait, man. How many fingers? 5? Well, we'll wait till it's 2. Do you know what I mean? So I was ready to retire, and what helped me was COVID. The year of COVID, but I'll tell you this, I have diabetes, and the people who were at risk, they didn't make them work. You could sit out and they paid you, not as much you would have got, but they paid you. It was okay. I learned that I could sit at home every day.
I enjoyed me time.
Just be fine. and now I love it that I can play golf when I want to. My wife and I travel.
You're pretty good too.
I'm an okay golfer. I'm not the best, but I don't practice. It's a fun thing for me.
Yeah.
But I enjoy
grandbaby. Don't you?
Yes,
don't you
well, my
dare
grandbaby.
forget about that.
You know what, man? And I was lucky in that my son was mostly a basketball player, so I got to see him play basketball. Yeah. He's a baseball player too, and I would coach him in the wintertime leagues. But like, if it was summer leagues, I wouldn't even get to see him play. Yeah. But he was more basketball, so I got to see him. But be able to be with my grandbaby at this age every day is priceless, and I enjoy every minute of it. But Russ, I'm telling you, man, I will highly recommend retirement for everybody.
If you can afford it. If you can afford it.
I don't understand is the thing people say you're going to get bored. Bored? How do you get bored of doing what you want to do when you want to do it? How do you get bored of that? I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, when I retired from football, I wasn't in a situation to be like, well, I'm just going to go chill.
You were young.
Yeah.
You were a young man.
Huh? Yeah,
you were young.
Still young. Man.
I was 60 years old when I retired.
Oh, okay. Well,
so
you're good. I still got time to go. I still got a ways to go. Now, I got to ask you some. These are all the questions that people want to get to know.
Okay.
Who is by far one of the worst managers? When you see them, you're like, oh my God, this guy again.
You know what, Russ, man? I don't, in my era, we didn't have the Billy Martins and the Sparky Anderson, the Earl Weavers. Russ, I'm trying to think. a manager that I just dread
Like, I don't even want to work
seeing
this game. This guy right here.
when I don't know, Russ, maybe because I took the game day by day, I didn't view it like that.
Yeah,
I view it that I always view baseball as everybody has a job to do. Because I'm going to tell you, even, what's the manager's name for Atlanta? Bobby Cox.
Okay.
Bobby Cox probably has the record, and I've thrown him out too, and he's probably got the record for most times being ejected.
Right.
But Russ, I'm gonna tell you, off the field, could not have been the nicer man.
Really?
Russ, that's what I'm trying to tell you is, look at what's the guy that played football for that was the preacher that played for Green Bay?
Oh, Reggie White.
Come on now.
Yeah.
What was he on the field?
Yeah, he was
and what would he do when he pick you up?
God bless you. I'll be back.
Yeah, it's people. You have a job to do.
Yeah.
But off the field, I run across many people like that. Yeah. You see them off the field, and they're just different people.
Yeah.
I never viewed them. Russ, honestly, I don't think I had one manager that I could say was just that bad to me. Okay. Hopefully, maybe that meant I was doing a good job.
Yeah. Maybe you're doing a good job out there.
But I did my job. I went home. I understand it. I understood the player's point of view because I was a good player like that. And I understand, hey, man, I got my job to do. I'm intense, and I need to do my job, and nothing's going to stand in my way. And, hey, if there's a bad call, not a bad call, hey, man, they're going to let you know. Yeah. That's part of your job. You better understand that before you get it.
Some thick skin.
Umpiring is not a game for the timid. That's for sure.
It's not, because you can see the crowds, and it's like one bad call or they don't agree with it, and people are just going nuts. And I'm like, okay, but I'm going to tell you, I think the one referee in football that probably catches the most hell that people will not acknowledge is the guy that works the sideline, that is on the same sideline with the coaches.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you got the head guy, he's out there on the field. Your other buddies, they're out there. So if they mess up, they can get away from that. But you're standing there with the chain crew, and I mean, I've heard some of these coaches and some of the things that they say to these guys, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I could take that, because some of these coaches, and that's why I asked about the managers, because I'm like, it's got to be very similar, because like you said, I'm trying to win. Like, I want to win, and that call, I don't agree with that call because it could have affect my game. It could affect like how we end up in the playoffs. So,
Russell, I'm going to tell you, I've had managers, I'm not kidding you, they on a losing streak, or the team's they're not doing well that day, or they're losing 10-1. I'm not kidding you. I've had managers, they'll have a close play and they'll come out and they'll be going, waving their hands, but they're going, Kerwin, please throw me out the game. I can't watch this anymore. Russell, it's the truth. It is the truth. And you got to he goes, Kerwin, just throw me out. I can't watch my team anymore. Suckers. Yeah, it happens. I'm kidding you.
I don't think, I've never been privy to that. So I can't imagine a coach in football being like, hey, man, I can't take this no more. It's 52-0, and it's the third quarter, man. Throw me out.
And some of them I've told them, I go, no. I got to stand here and watch it. You're going to watch it too.
I got to take it too. You're going to take it.
Yeah.
I don't get to leave early. You're not leaving early.
That's exactly right. So.
That's cool, man. Hey, but look, I just want to wrap things up, man. I really appreciate you coming on here, and it's been something I've been wanting to do with you for a while, and I know how you are now that you're retired. Yeah, I'm going to go golf today.
Yeah, got to fit that in my schedule. Yeah, that gets in the way. I'm about to cancel out on you. So. No, it's been a pleasure, man.
Yeah,
it was good, man.
I'm glad. Awesome. I'm glad you was able to come on in and have a good time, man. I appreciate it, brother. Thanks a lot.
Invite me back anytime, man.
Always, anytime.
It.
Thanks for tuning in to The Route. Don't forget to subscribe and connect with us on socials for exclusive updates. We'll see you next week.